Official Wandering Weekends campground review for Duckett Mill Campground on Lake Lanier in Gainesville, Georgia. All right, guys, if you're new with us, thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoy. We do our campground reviews a little bit different than most folks. We have 6 different categories. We score from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. The different categories are as follows: accessibility, scenery, atmosphere, value, comforts, and kid-friendly, which is possibly our favorite. It is fairly easy to access Duckett Mill. The distance from a major highway is fairly short. It's right off of 53 up there in Gainesville, Georgia. It's easy to get around the campground. The dump station is a little far off if you're in certain parts of the campground, but that's not uncommon. And I didn't see very many awkward campsites. They're relatively straightforward. Some were steep, but we were able to get a 35-foot travel trailer down them, so they weren't too steep. Accessibility scores an 8. Scenery at Duckett Mill was very, very good at our site and several other sites. I would say there's more good scenic sites than there's not. It was a nice mature forest overlooking the lake. We got a great sunrise. It wasn't a perfect sunrise, but that was the cloud's fault, not Duckett Mill's. But it was still beautiful. Scenery scores a 9. Atmosphere at Duckett Mill was better than average. The staff wasn't terribly friendly, but they weren't rude either. They get kind of straight to the point. The size of campsites were very good. We didn't have any type of parties. The camaraderie of the campers seemed to be really good. We made friends with our neighbors, which is always nice. Atmosphere scored an 8. Duckett Mill's prices are very on par with most other RV campgrounds in Georgia. $32 a night gets you water and electricity. That scores it a 5 on the Wandering Weekend scale. You can go to wanderingweekends.com and check that out. Again, cost for Duckett Mill is a 5. Duckett Mill scores fairly well on comforts. You're pretty close to Gainesville, Georgia, only a few miles away. Gainesville is a relatively large town, and you're going to have all the creature comforts you'd probably have close to your hometown, a Walmart, a Home Depot, anything of that sort. You're fairly close to a Camping World and several other camper dealers, so if you needed an RV type part, you'd probably be in luck there. The privacy at the campground was good. I didn't have too many amenities, no rentals or anything like that. You couldn't rent a kayak, nothing that I saw like that. But comforts was still good. It scored an 8. Last but certainly not least, kid-friendly. Duckett Mill's playground was in terrible shape, and not to mention it also had a swarm of dirt daubers around it, which made it completely unusable for us. So that really hurt the score here. Otherwise, it did really great. There was a big loop near our campground that we could see the kids ride all the way around on their bicycles. It had other kids around, so that's always good. And the campground traffic was really not that bad at all. So it would have scored a very good score, maybe even a 10 had it had a really good playground. But the playground was such in terrible shape, it ends up scoring a 7. How about Duckett Mill cranking out a 45 on the Wandering Weekends campground scale? That is really, really good. I think if they put in a new playground and maybe rented some kayaks, they could be knocking on 50. That'd be the only other 50 has been Old Federal, which is right down the lake from them. They do a really good job. Everything was spotless. They almost scored a bonus point for having 2 dump stations, but the other dump station was so hard to get to, it was basically inaccessible. So no bonus points for Duckett Mill, but a 45 is still a really, really good score. Duckett Mill certainly makes our return list. We'll go back. As soon as we get our state park tour wrapped up, I'll look forward to seeing Duckett Mill again. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit that subscribe button and join us over at Instagram at the handle you see on your screen.